I'm a dietitian and a busy mom, so let's make 2 meals out of one. With 3 kids and sports practices and homework in the evenings, making a fresh meal every night honestly sounds overwhelming. So to make things easier, I use building block meals, where I cook one meal and serve it the first night, and then I use the leftovers the following night in a whole new way. Over the years, I worked with hundreds of families, and dinner time was almost always challenging. I also worked with quite a few people that did not care for leftovers, and so that created a major conundrum. I created the idea of building block meals to make cooking dinner easier, and usually the non-leftover crowd was impressed as well. So today we're going to make Turkey Florentine meatballs, and Florentine means with spinach. The first night, I'm going to serve the meatballs over a bed of pasta with maybe a side salad on the side. And then the second night, I'm going to heat up the leftover meatballs and use them to make mini meatball subs and maybe serve fruit on the side. There's very little cooking the second time around. This is going to be the first video in a series of building block meals, so please stay tuned for more ideas. First, add 2 pounds of ground turkey to a large mixing bowl. You can use anywhere from 93 to 99% lean meat. Then measure out about 2 heaping cups of frozen chopped spinach and pop it in the microwave and cook in 30-second increments until it's thawed. After the spinach has cooled a bit so you don't burn your hands, squeeze out any of the extra water and add it to the meat so the meatballs aren't mushy. Next, add about half a cup of Italian breadcrumbs. You can also use gluten-free breadcrumbs, 2 eggs, and 3 tablespoons of grated Parmesan cheese. For seasonings, I use a half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of oregano, 1 teaspoon of basil, and some freshly cracked pepper. Then go ahead and get down and dirty with it. Jump in and mix the meatballs with your hands. People ask me why I use my hands to mix meatballs, and I just find it easier than a spoon. But if you don't like touching the raw meat, that's okay too. Using a number 40 ice cream scoop that holds about 2 tablespoons, scoop the meatballs out onto a piece of parchment or foil. This method is fast, it makes uniform meatballs, and your hands stay clean in the process. When you're done scooping, give the meatballs a quick roll just to make sure they're packed tightly and they don't fall apart on you. If you use slightly wet hands as you roll, they won't stick. Heat 1 to 2 tablespoons of olive oil in a skillet over medium-high heat until it's shimmering. And then add the meatballs, but give them enough space so that you can turn them as they cook. I like to make a bullseye shape in my pan just because I think it works well. Allow the meatballs to cook until they're nicely browned on one side, and then use a pair of tongs to flip them over and cook the other side until it's brown too. If you're enjoying this video, please leave us a like and maybe leave a comment and tell me if you have made a building block meal and what you made. While the meatballs cook, go ahead and empty 2 jars of your favorite tomato sauce into a large pot. Make sure you pour it low because tomato sauce loves to splash, like it just did. I put a little bit of water in each jar and then I shake it with the lid on to get out all of the extra sauce, and then it's really easy to recycle the jars. Checking on my meatballs, I give my pan a nice shake. Why do I do that? It's an easy way to get all of the meatballs to release and then cook all the way around. If you aren't comfortable doing that or your pan is too heavy, just use tongs and flip them over again. Then drop the meatballs into the sauce and cover them up. Because we doubled the meatball recipe for a building block meal, you'll probably need to cook a second batch of meatballs and then add them to the sauce as well. For our first meal, we're going to serve the meatballs over a bed of pasta. I like to use Barilla Plus pasta because it adds 10 grams of protein per serving. Sprinkle with some shredded parm. For our second meal the following night, we are going to lay out some nice sub rolls. Top them with the leftover meatballs that have been sitting in the sauce overnight. Meatballs are always better after they sit. Sprinkle with shredded mozzarella and then cook at 375 degrees until the meatballs are hot and the cheese is melted. I'm using a toaster oven because it's so easy, but you can use your regular oven as well. So by making a building block meal, we did put forth some effort, but now we have dinner ready for the next 2 nights. This is the first video in a series on building block meals, so stay tuned for more ideas. Please subscribe to join our community and check out this video for another easy weeknight dinner idea.